All right, so one of the things that I think many Christians and many regular people, even if you don't believe, just in general, is that we struggle with wasting time, especially in this generation, because we're so glued to our phones and just mindlessly scrolling that we get distracted with things that don't even matter. And the reason I'm saying this is because I'm a chronic time waster as well. That's what I like to call it. I came up with that phrase like 10 minutes ago, a chronic time waster. And I've been a chronic time waster since like 2020. Let's be for real. I'm gonna be real with you guys. All I do from time to time is scroll my phone when I can be doing way better things. And this isn't even like um a thing I do willingly. Like it just happens. Like I'll just be laying in bed or I get back home from the gym or school, and I'll just start scrolling on my phone mindlessly. And it's just like an autopilot thing. And I'm sure most of you struggle with that because like let's be for real, we're all teens, especially if you're watching this video, it's likely that you're a teen. And, you know, it's just one of the things that I see that many people struggle with. And it's one of the things that we can't let slip through the cracks because our phone addiction is like basically a tool that the devil uses to distract us from working on self improvement, skipping our responsibilities, procrastinating our homework, just basic stuff like that that we skip because we're glued to our phones because we're so afraid of missing out on what's going on. And I've tried various different things. I've tried deleting Instagram, YouTube, stuff like that, hopping off for like a week or two, but none of that even works. And I think that the main reason why it doesn't work is because our brains have been wired to just seek short form content and dopamine. And that comes through many ways, like ultra processed foods or just food in general. Um, you know, X-rated content, short form content, uh, binge watching shows, doing stuff that doesn't glorify uh, God and doesn't glorify um, God's will, and just kind of destroys our bodies and our confidence and our self-image and really stunts our growth. So if you're watching this video, I just want to let you know that there is a way to escape through that. And even I as a Christian believe that if I just gave it to Jesus, it would be gone away. And that goes for anything. Like you think that if you give something to Jesus or you give it to God, that it's gonna be gone. But the thing with that is that God can't do everything for you. Yes, He'll do the other stuff, like protect you, provide for you. You know, you gotta have faith for those things. But if you ask God, for example, like, God, I want to start this business and I want to get so much money from it, guide me. He's not gonna be the one doing it for you. He's the one that's giving you the tools to go ahead and do it. So just the same way, if you want to break an addiction like your phone addiction, you can't just say, God, break me free from this addiction. You have to take the steps away to overcome it. And that goes for anything, building a better sleep schedule, eating right, going to the gym, starting a business, schoolwork, all those things, that we skip and we neglect that are our responsibilities, and the stuff that we even thrive in, which are negative, which have negative consequences like sins. Those are, I'm not going to say easy to break away from because I recognize a struggle. I myself have struggled with sins like lust, and it's not easy to break away from them, but it doesn't come from your self will. It doesn't come from, how do I say it, just your discipline. It also comes with rewiring and building new habits because you can't just cold turkey something. You can't just quit something like right away. It requires step by step process, and it requires sometimes even months of hard work, and you just have to put in effort. And if you're gonna break away from something like phone addiction, it's better to instead of putting it away from your face like for a full 24 hours or whatever, you're gonna feel tempted. So it's better to just start small. Like I'm gonna limit myself to maybe an hour less from what I usually spend on my phone, or two, and you can just build up all that slowly. And it's something that I'm trying to do more because I've done dopamine detoxes, and they're really hard to stick to because you're cold turkeying a habit that isn't easy to quit for you in the first place. So it start off small, and you have to build on that. You know, And it's one of the things that has been on my mind lately, and I'm trying to think of a verse that could directly correlate to this. I think it's First Corinthians chapter 9 verse 27. It's, I discipline my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached, I myself may not be disqualified. I think that's how it goes. But it's just saying, you have to deny your flesh, you have to discipline your body, you have to not let your flesh take control of what it wants to do. Because the moment you let your flesh take control of what you do, you start letting go of what you know God promises. You start letting go of God's promises and you start doubting it, because you're letting the flesh take control over your spirit, over what you know is right. And when you act in the flesh, you're gonna mess things up. Not saying that if you act in certain other ways, you're not gonna mess up. But if you act in the flesh willingly, you're gonna break a bunch of things. You're essentially breaking yourself down into like destruction. Is what I want to say. I don't know if that makes sense, but if you act in the flesh, nothing's ever gonna go right, because you're doing it in from a spot that comes from your heart. And the Bible says that our heart is deceitful above all things, especially with our intentions. And so you have to start by disciplining your body, disciplining your flesh, your mind, what your desires are, and you have to really start cutting off those things that aren't helping you. I forgot what verse it is in chapter. I think it's Matthew 6, where Jesus says, it's either 6 or 7, where Jesus says that you have to cut off your right hand if it's causing you to sin, or gouge out your eye if it's causing you to sin, or like looking with lust. And it's true, but not in the literal way. Don't Guys, don't go ahead and cut your like arm off. Okay, it's basically saying cut off those triggers. Just don't even think about it. Don't overanalyze it. Don't consider it. Don't second think it. Just go ahead and cut off those things that are causing you to sin. But I want to make a longer video on this. But I hope this video reached out to you guys, and I hope it's a blessing. It's kind of a more quick video I wanted to film. But yeah, thank you for your support.